Analysis throughout the night. The Labor function tonight is being held at the Adelaide Oval. Surveying the mood for us there is Sarah Temebska. Sarah, it's a tough ask to oust a first-term government, but the polls look good for Labor. What's the feeling there? Do they think they've done enough?
Well, Jess, it's still fairly early on here at Labor HQ. We're expecting to have Labor's candidate for Adelaide, Lucy Hood, and the member for Enfield, Andrea Michaels, arrive at any moment. But based on the candidates and party advisors that I've spoken to today, many have mirrored Tom Koutsantonis's tone of cautious optimism. That the polls are welcome news, but Labor isn't fooling itself. It knows that it's up against a first-term government in the context of COVID and that it needs to win 4 seats to form a majority government. Now, having said that, there is a sense within the Labor camp that it has done all it can this election campaign, that it's led a more energetic and focused campaign than the Liberals, and at the helm of that, Labor leader Peter Malinauskas, who has gone hard on his message on public health. He's promised more than $1 billion to fix what he calls the state's ramping crisis, which of course critics say began under the former Labor government. But it's a tactic that we saw in 2014 in the Victorian state election, where Labor Premier Dan Andrews also went very hard on health. So whether or not that will pay off here in South Australia this time round is now up to voters, of course. But there is a sense within the Labor camp that the fact that Peter Malinauskas has managed to go from relative obscurity 6 months ago, you know, sitting on the sidelines and providing bipartisan support as Stephen Marshall dealt with the COVID pandemic, to now being seen as a front runner in the campaign, well, a lot of Labor people are saying that that's got to count for something.
Sarah, it's certainly been a hectic final 24 hours for the opposition leader Peter Malinauskas on the campaign trail. How did he spend it?
That's right, Rory. Well, he was out in his own seat of Croydon early this morning casting his vote, and he's expected to obviously hold on to his seat with a pretty comfortable majority vote there. But as you might expect, the 4 marginal seats in metropolitan Adelaide are where Labor are focusing their attention. He was out in Newland and King in Adelaide's northeast all day today, handing out how to vote cards for Labor's candidates Rhiannon Pearce and Olivia Savvis. On his way home, he also passed through the electorate of Adelaide, where I currently am, and where Lucy Hood is hoping to oust incumbent Liberal Rachel Sanderson. Now, another interesting